Today we're going to talk about stars and their life cycle. So, what are stars? Stars are just burning balls of gas that come in different sizes and in different colors. Stars can be small, like the size of a planet. They can be average, in the middle, or they can be massive, many times larger than our sun. Notice that our sun is in the middle. It's an average sized star. Stars also come in different colors. The color of a star is based on its temperature. Cooler stars are red in color. Hotter stars are blue in color. Did you know that stars have a life cycle just like us? Stars are born and they grow and become older, and eventually they will die off and end their life. The path that a star takes is determined by its mass. Mass just means the size of its star. So there are two paths that a star can take. There's the path of an average star, which goes through certain phases because these stars are medium-sized to smaller. Or it can take the path of a massive star. These are really big stars, the biggest stars in the universe, and they go through different stages. Let's talk about the path of an average star. These are our small to medium stars. Stars are born in an area called a nebula. The dust and gas is pulled together and creates a little baby star. Stars then go through main sequence, where they give off light and heat. This is where our sun is right now. After main sequence, stars expand and cool off and turn red. They become red giants. Those stars continue expanding and they puff off their outer layers and create a planetary nebula. All that's left is the core or the center of the star. At the end of the life of an average star, it becomes a white dwarf. The star will eventually cool and stop glowing. Let's take a look at this animation of the stages in the life of a low mass or average star. You can see here that the star is going through main sequence. It expands and cools as a red giant. It puffs off its outer layers in a planetary nebula, and all that's left is the white dwarf, which cools and becomes a black dwarf. Let's look at the path of a massive star. These are the biggest stars in the universe. They also start in a nebula, that area of dust and gas that condenses to create a protostar. Massive stars also go through main sequence where they're giving off light and heat. They spend most of their time here. Massive stars expand and cool off and become red supergiants, so they become a little bit bigger. They continue to expand, and because they're so big and have so much energy, they create a giant explosion called a supernova where they blast off their outer layers. Depending on the size of these big stars, they can end their life in one of two ways. They can end their life as a neutron star, where the core of the star collapses and is just made of neutrons, or they could end their life as a black hole. The core collapses and completely vanishes. The gravitational pull is so impressive that it pulls in all of the light around it. The most massive stars in the universe end up as black holes. Let's take a look at the animation of a massive star. You can see here that our main sequence star is a little bit bigger. It is going to expand into a supergiant, explode into a supernova, and all that's left is that little bitty core that turns into a black hole. Other facts you need to know about stars. More massive stars live shorter lives. That means the bigger stars are not around for as long. Our sun is an average star. It will eventually become a red giant, and then it will end its life as a white dwarf. Remember, our sun is in main sequence right now. If you want a copy of these notes, go to our class teams. Click on the Files tab, click on the Week 3 folder, and open the document that says Stars and Their Life Cycle Notes.